Welcome back to the counter. Excuse me, I'm a bit husky this morning. This fuchsia is not going to beat me. So today I think I learnt enough from the practice tiles to do a larger one. I'm going to change the balance of the colours that I use. So today's colours are, I'm going to use the black pigment as the background, fuchsia, plum, snow white, a couple of inks, black and white, and of course raging raspberry, which I'm going to use as a highlight rather than as a dominant colour. Okay, so let's mix some resin and see if I can master it. Okay, just before I start, I want to talk about doing practice tiles. What I learnt from yesterday was that basically this top half is what I'm after. But if you have a look here, things run over each other in a different way. So the fuchsia pops against black, the plum covers the fuchsia beautifully, the raging raspberry, when you incorporate it with white, gets this neon pink, and this swirl through the fuchsia with the little bits of white, this plum looks beautiful. So aside from the fact that we didn't actually spend too much resin to do this, we learnt a lot for a bigger piece. Like, that's the sort of balance that I'll be going for today, this top section, and seeing if I can get this part working properly. Okay, so let's start. I've mixed my pigments, which are black, fuchsia, plum and white, my raging raspberry, beautiful, and my two inks, the white and the black. Now, just as a something to help me remember which one's which, I use different cups for different types of colorants. So the pigments in this case are in the red cups and the inks are in the white cups, so that I know what I'm picking up and what it will do. Okay, now this time I'm going to go back to my old technique of doing my black frame. I want this black to be the outside edges. No reason why you can't get in with your hands and do this. And that's the thing, when you're playing with resin, there's nothing to say that you can't use your hands. Just keep some spare gloves, and if the colour on your gloves is too dark or too messy, then just change your gloves. For those of you that have been watching me for a while, I double glove, and so it's relatively easy for me to change the top layer. Now I double glove because I have small hands, and the gloves that I like, they don't have in really small sizes. It's a one size fits all. So the gloves that do fit stick to my skin, and I don't like that at all. So I double glove. It's a way of me feeling comfortable with what I'm doing. Get a nice coverage on that, make sure I get the edges properly. Apologies for being a bit husky. It's blowing quite a gale here, you might hear that in the background, and my hay fever's acting up just a bit. I can go back and finish those edges later. I'm going to torch the bubbles. Now I do this so that the next lot of resin has a nice surface to run over. Let me just clean up these black ones so that I don't contaminate what I'm trying to do with colour. That was a bit slack of me, sorry. I don't mind that bit up there. Now, remember we're going for this sort of look. So my plan is to lay down white, then the plum, then the fuchsia, or the other way around. So the fuchsia pops against the black, so I'm going to run it around the black, giving a fair old piece. Might thicken it up down this corner so I've got somewhere for the plum to run. Now the plum really didn't do anything against the black, so I'm not going to run it up into the black. I'm going to start midway, cross over a bit, and just butt alongside. Now the plum did look lovely against the white, so I'm going to edge off this top area of plum with white. Just run a little bit in there and just pour some extra down here. Now at this stage I'm still looking for some shapes. I'm not going to add the the Raging Raspberry for a while. I'm going to warm this up, get rid of some of the bubbles. And then I'm going to use my heat gun to spread the fuchsia. Just while I think about it, I might just give myself a line there. Now I'm going to backfill a little bit with black on this side. I want to keep this black clean, so when I backfill I push resin up to it rather than using my stir stick to touch the edge. Now we've got some lovely swirly things happening here. Now I want to just add a little bit of plum through this fuchsia, so I'll just, that will spread, so I don't have a worry with that. I'm going to add a bit more white down here for definition. Just want to torch these bubbles here and spread this fuchsia just a little bit. Across the black. Spread this little bit just to change the look of it. Torch some of this white. Now, this is where I'm going to carefully butt up to the plum. The rest of it's looking quite nice. Just fill in some of those thin spots. I just want to tip this down here a little bit. Just a bit, not very much. All I want is some organic shapes. We have this lovely little dot pattern happening here. Now, to balance this out just a little bit, I want some interest down here. So I'm going to butt up some of the purple through here. Plum, sorry. Now, like I said, plum doesn't really look nice against the black. It kind of vanishes. So I'm just going to put an outside little line. It looks a bit contrived, but that's how I work. Yeah, backfill some of this black. Might get in with my hands on this one. I'm still trying to keep this black really clean. I don't want to pick up other colours. I think black backgrounds are just stunning. Now the other thing I want to do is I just want to manipulate this into a different shape. And I'll run off a bit of magenta, sorry, the fuchsia into the black. And we'll continue a bit more with the plum. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to run the white out. So I'll just heat it up slightly, get rid of the bubbles. Still finishing off with this black. Some beautiful colour in here with the plum working. Oh. So this is where you have to be a bit careful of the things that you learnt on your practice tile. I know that plum just blends into nothing on the black. So if I'm going to butt or have that plum going against the black, I need to have something as a barrier line. In this case I'm using white. what I said. I drag resin in a bit of a puddle before my stir stick, so that my stir stick doesn't go into the white, and I use that to join up things. Feel free to fast forward if you find these bits tedious. I tend to get a bit involved in what I'm doing, and I forget that you're there with me. Got a bit of plum there that I haven't lined. Doesn't need to be much, but enough to stop it blending into nothing. Now, just for a bit of interest, I'm going to use some of the black ink in here. Now this black ink's a different density of pigment. So it should just do a couple of little things differently. Also in this bit. And I might use the rest of it over here. You're not going to see too much difference in that part, but now I have just a little bit of fixing that I need to do there. Now let's put some heat on this. Do you know what? I don't even think it needs Raging Raspberry. I think maybe if I just do a little line in there, just to break that bit up. Soften it with a bit of heat. Now that's pretty. Now the thing that I did differently that I learnt was fuchsia against black, plum against white. The plum works through the fuchsia nicely, but individually they don't work in this way. This bit needs just a little bit of softening. I might be able to do that with a torch without wrecking it too much. There you go. Just a bit of softening. Very happy with that. Good balance. Now I'll just fix the edges with a bit of black. And we're done. It's interesting that I thought that I would need to use Raging Raspberry for a bit of interest, but this is beautiful. Now if you run your fingers around the tile, you can actually feel whether you've got coverage. I think it's a bit dry around the back. When you're doing this, try not to contaminate your main colours. Now I haven't added a lot of heat to this, so I don't expect this to move very much more than it already has. Very happy with that. I love this little detail that we've got here. I love the way the plum runs through the fuchsia, and I love these little touches of the plum going out into the white. There's not a lot of cells or lacing, which is quite deliberate. I want them to be a highlight rather than a predominant feature of these this piece, so I haven't added a lot of heat, and those that come up will be just little, and they'll serve to highlight the piece rather than detract, so they'll show you soft edges. Oh, I'm very happy with that. Okay, let's bring you down for a close-up. So I know you get to watch me make this from a different angle, but this is basically my perspective of it. My goal was to highlight the fuchsia and make it the star of this piece. Beautiful little flower formation there in that fuchsia with the dark dots. Definitely pops against the black. I love the way the plum just wanders through the middle there. The plum running over a bit of the white just for a bit of detail over there. I've softened these little edges, and as you can see, you'll get some tiny lacing, and that's not designed to be a feature, it's designed to be an accent. So yeah, I think I've conquered this fuchsia. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.